Don't ask us why, but blue and white is a killer for crappies. This is the Crappie Candie, one of the most effective crappie patterns out there. This is how you tie it. This pattern catches all types of predator species, so I like to use a really strong stinger style hook. This is a B10S and a size 6. GSP 130 thread is a great option for its durability and its flat qualities. It doesn't bulk up much on the hook shank. Get a base of that started on the front side of the hook and go back about 1/4 of an inch from the hook eye, where you're going to tie in some barbell eyes. I like to use a base layer of dubbing for my barbell eyes just to help prevent spinning on the hook shank. So I'm going to grab a couple strands of Firestar dubbing and make a really thin noodle onto the hook shank. Add a dab of super glue to the top and then grab your barbell eyes. I prefer my crappie patterns to be very lightweight just to control that sink rate. We always want to be fishing above crappies. So I prefer that nice slow sink rate of a smaller set of barbell eyes. But if you want to get down deep, adjust the size of your barbell eyes accordingly. Hold these eyes at an angle along the hook shank and grab them with 3 wraps. Straighten the eyes out and come back around the other side with 3 more wraps to position them properly. Once you get them set where you want, crank down on those barbell eyes and make some under wraps just to set those eyes in place. Bring your thread all the way back to the bend of the hook. On the back side, we're first going to tie in some flash in the form of SSS diamond braid. This is Clearwater blue. Trim a small piece of diamond braid from its holder and with a pinch wrap capture that diamond braid onto the hook shank and tie it down all the way up to back behind the barbell eyes. Trim any excess that you might have and then use your bodkin to splay out those tail fibers extending behind the fly. Next, you're going to need a piece of extra select strung Marabou in white. Take a good robust feather. Holding the bottom portion of the stem, we're just going to stroke all of these fibers towards the tips. This tail should be about the length of the hook shank and maybe even a little bit longer if it suits the fly well. Capture the tail in with a pinch wrap on the back side of the hook and then bring forward wraps over the top of the rest of the Marabou feather to secure it into place. Trim off any excess up by the barbell eyes and then bring your thread back to the original tying point on the back side of the hook. Use your thumb to push down that material just to flatten it out and splay it out around the hook shank a little bit. We get to grab our Steelie blue Firestar dubbing again and we're going to make a robust body, just dubbing a thick noodle with a fairly significant amount of dubbing. If you don't think you have enough, grab a little bit more. Spin a noodle onto your thread and start making touching wraps forward as you go towards the barbell eyes. Just make sure you have enough dubbing on your thread to fill up that entire body portion and add a few wraps just behind the barbell eyes. Once you're happy with the amount of Firestar on the body portion of your fly, sneak your thread over the barbell eyes and bring it to the front side of the hook just behind the hook eye. Grab another fairly robust Marabou feather. Just like before, stroke all the fibers towards the tips to create the underbelly of this fly pattern. We're going to tie this feather in clouser style, so get a good measurement on it. I like it to be just a little bit longer than the hook shank, and then transfer the feather into your other hand and trim the butt section flush to where you want to have it tied in. We're going to angle that cut butt section of Marabou feathers down over the top of those barbell eyes and grab it with a few wraps of thread before capturing the remaining portion of that down on the front side of the hook shank. Manipulate those fibers to make sure they stay on top of the hook and they don't spin around to the bottom side. Use touching thread wraps to move back towards the barbell eyes and capture all of those Marabou fibers down onto the front side of the hook. Once you get to the barbell eyes, sneak your thread behind them and make 3 wraps to capture the Marabou down behind the barbell eyes. And then bring your thread back to the front side of the hook. At this point, I like to use a dubbing brush to tease out some of that Firestar dubbing, make the body a little bit more robust. Finally, we're going to reach again for that Clearwater blue SSS diamond braid. Capture this material down in front of the barbell eyes so that it's facing forward off the hook shank. Make wraps all the way up to just behind the hook eye before folding that material rearward and wrapping over it again back towards the barbell eyes. Trim that wing material to be just about as long as the underbelly portion of that fly. Again, use your bodkin to splay out that SSS diamond braid and make sure that it's evenly distributed on both sides of the hook shank. Add a few half hitches on the front side of the hook and then trim your GSP. And I like to add a really light coat of UV resin on the nose just to solidify those thread wraps and make sure they're not going anywhere. Hit it with your light and you've got a finished crappie candy. This is such an effective pattern in the spring and summer months when fish are looking up and busting bait fish. I've caught muskie, walleye, white bass, smallmouth bass, largemouth bass, and of course crappie on this crappie candy pattern, and it is certainly a killer. Hope it helps you out on your home waters. These are all the materials you'll need to tie the crappie candy. Make sure you go down to your local fly shop and ask for Larva Lace by name. If they don't have it, they can go to hagginsfish.com or email Lorie to get the highest quality synthetic fly tying materials on the market. If this video helped you out, make sure you like and subscribe, and please comment below with how you're using the crappie candy, or let us know what variations you tie. That helps other people find this video and helps other people catch fish with our flies. Thanks for being a part of the Larva Lace community. Thanks for tying with Larva Lace. Tight lines and well-tied flies.